I want it to first bring this up that like I think a lot of times we know that personal development happens in network marketing. Like we say things like network marketing is, personal development program with a compensation plan. And like we don't always know what that means, right? Or we were to say some things and like we have to actually stop and pause and realize the person you're becoming and the people other people are becoming, the type of people they are when they're in this journey. Hi, Miss Ashley. And when you are in like network marketing, people will say it's like getting an MBA in business because you're doing your marketing, you're doing your social media, you're doing your P&L, like you're doing sales, like you're doing all these things that you didn't ever think that you like had the skill set to necessarily do. But that's what happens with this journey. So you often hear Jess and I tease about like how we are unrecognizable because we were like borderline rude to each other in the beginning, right? Like we were so competitive, we didn't know what we were doing. Janie like ran us against each other. Like I was like, who is this chick from Philadelphia that like hangs up before I even get to say bye? She was like, who is this chick from Denver that's like too busy to give me like the time of day? And then we look at each other now and like we send each other messages like oozing over like our kids and like all the wins in our life. And it's like, who did these people become and how did that happen? And it's from this community, it's from this industry. And like we prospect people saying things like, we're going to plug you into a group of women that stand on chairs and cheer for each other. Like, we want to see you win. If you guys have like put that in a prospecting message or said that, because it's great language, put it to in the chat. But then like, think about what it really means. And on the receiving end, right, for someone to be like, wait, what? Like, you guys are going to stand up on chairs and like cheer for me. Like, they don't always necessarily get it, right? But that's because who we are and who we embody and all the things. So, I want to tell you along this personal development, personal growth journey, one of the things that is so, so, so important, and I feel like we used to kind of talk about it a lot and it doesn't come up as much, is the idea of a growth mindset versus a fixed mindset. So if you know at all what I'm talking about, put a 2 in the chat. And if you are like, I have no idea what you're talking about, right? Put a 10 in the chat. I'm just catching up with some of the stuff in the chat here. So if you've heard it, Erica's like, yeah, I'm on board with it, right? Like you've heard of a growth mindset versus a fixed mindset. So part of it's self-explanatory. And if you're not familiar with it, I mean, I encourage you just Google it, right? Just look it up, like click on an image and you can kind of compare some things side by side. But it's more than wanting to get better, right? Like the growth mindset is more than like, oh, I'm consistently learning. So for example, when things don't go well, right? When like bleep happens, like, whatever the situation may be, people with a fixed mindset, it's sometimes like, oh, this is happening to me, right? Or like, oh, like I'm never going to be able to overcome this. Where like the growth mindset says, well, what am I supposed to be learning from this? Like, what is this teaching me? It builds character, it builds like resilience, it builds the ability to like think from things from a different perspective. And so when I joined network marketing back in 2013, and many of you know Isogenics is my only company, same with Jessica, and we were sponges to learn this profession and learn this company. Like when I tell you we were immersed in it, Janie Elo, who I wish she could listen to this recording, she would be laughing right now. She would be sending us things in the middle of the night. So she was like a little bit of a night owl. Like Jessica was East Coast, she was Pacific time. I was working all these jobs, like 80 to 100 hours a week. And she would like send us these things in the middle of the night. She'd be like, hey, I need you to listen to this right now. And like Jess was like, dude, I've got like kids. Like she was like, no, you need to hop on this call like right now. And she would like get me out of bed to do things, right? Like I'm like, dude, I'm going to bed. Like I just left the bar. I've got to like teach spin in the morning. Like I'm trying to get 3 hours of sleep. And she'd be like, do this, listen to it now and send me your notes and tell me what you think about it. And I remember like Jessica and I having like this little bit of like almost fear. Like we didn't want to like disappoint her, right? Like she wasn't our boss, she was our mentor. But it was kind of like, oh gosh, like I don't have it in me to like tell Janny. I didn't have a chance to like listen to that. But ultimately, it was like this hunger that we had, in that we saw this incredible life that she was living. We both call her the millionaire mentor. She was telling us stories of so many successful people, and she was living this like incredible lifestyle that we wanted so badly that it was kind of like success leaves clues, right? Like we're going to do whatever she tells us to do, but we both wanted it so bad. So it started that way that like Jess would be like, oh my gosh, did you listen to this? And she would like send me like Hillary Courtney's call. And I'd be like, oh my gosh, have you listened to this? And I would send her Emily Baver's call. And then like we should have been in like meetings for our jobs and we were on like the Nori's call or the Harder's call. And these are people that like some of you may know, some of you may not know. They were rising stars at the time. But it was like this commitment, this dedication to becoming experts in it. And I will tell you, there was a significant year, like at least a year, that I love group fitness. For those that know me, like I love spin classes, I love yoga classes, and I was like on the step mill with headphones because I wanted to learn the language of Lynn Hagedorn and Susan Sly and Eric Worre. And I just thought, you know what, my group spin classes are always going to be there, but I want to have the best sound bites. I want this to flow off of my tongue. Like I want it to be like effortless, that I understand the comp plan, that I understand the products, that I understand the objections, that I understand what takes us apart. And it was because I had never wanted anything so bad in my life, right? Truly. And I don't expect everyone to be that way. Many people come in for the products, many people come in for part-time. But for me and for Jessica, we both wanted to be able to do this full time. It was like that was the way it was. Now, in full transparency, we've been doing this for a decade. To some extent, we know what we're doing, right? Like we joke that like, gosh, we wish we could go back to 2013 and 2014 and apply what we know now to some of the people we had then, but that's a part of the journey, right? Like we wouldn't be here without those experiences. But we have both at different times gotten comfortable, right? I would say we're still growing, we're still learning, we still do personal development, we still do gratitude, we still do intentions, we still go to events. It's not like we're sitting on the sidelines, like pieced out, like we can't learn anymore. But that transparency of like, is it all in? You know, do you have that burning desire? Are you making those short-term sacrifices to create a long-term reward? And so a couple weeks ago, I asked you guys, you know, like when was the last time you set a goal? When was the last time you set a goal for your business and like focused on it? And I look around at our team and I'm really, really, really inspired by what some people are doing right now. I'm going to share a little bit about what I'm doing and how we can bring this focus in this like collaborative energy towards isogenics. So Holly is, if you guys don't know, she's created this like incredible group and like community on social media. She talked about it briefly a couple weeks ago. In short, it might be another way to meet leads and to build a prospect, but it's like who she is, the way that she lifts people up, the way that she can bring people together. And she's an incredible entrepreneur. Like Isogenics is not her only business. It's not her first business. And it's like, hey, and that's the embodiment of a growth mindset. So it's like all these things I'm doing, right? And I'm going to apply it here and that energy. And it has me going like, imagine if we all took like 1 or 2% of some of those things and brought it back into isogenics. Okay. So when I talk about the growth mindset, you guys, like we talk about Erica and this like torch that she holds of inspiration because of the things that she does. But I'm watching her speaking career. I'm watching her podcast career, right? I'm watching the people that are following that like somehow like we have mutual connection with that are like looking up to her. That's a growth mindset. Like Erica makes great money in her corporate career. Erica makes great money with isogenics. She doesn't have to do that. I want you guys to realize like she's not doing this because she's got to figure out like how to pay for things. It's that want, it's that hunger, it's that drive of like, I want to leave a legacy. I was meant to do certain things. Like, how do I get better? And she's a student becoming like not a student, like she's learning, she's growing, she's surrounding herself with people that are going to make her better, right? And there's vulnerability with that. And so all of this to be said, if you guys looked at the the call like descriptor, and we talked about like discipline and consistency, and I wanted to share a little bit different. I think that those are two words that sometimes you hear like, oh, you need to be consistent with this, or where's your discipline? And we like literally like kind of run, right? And you kind of feel like, oh, I'm going to be in trouble. Like there's like this negative connotation with them. Into the complete opposite, they're really positive. They're really, really, really encouraging. So many of you know I come from the fitness and nutrition background. You cannot do certain things and get in ridiculous shape and then stop and think that you're going to keep them, right? So you do a cleanse, you start working out, you change your diet. Okay, well, if you stop and you swap the vegetables back for frappuccinos and you stop working out and you're sleeping in and hitting the snooze, like you're not going to maintain the result. And many of us know that. So people that have a physical body of a certain goal, right? Or they're committed to exercise, they do that consistency. That is who they are. Even when they're traveling, when they're not feeling well, when they're too busy, That is who they are. They're dedicated to having those endorphins. They're dedicated to a certain size pants. They're dedicated to the energy or whatever those things may be. Now, sometimes what I've seen with network marketing is we do certain things to get to a goal. Oh, I'm going to hit Crystal Manager. Oh, I'm going to hit 1 star. Oh, I'm going to hit the 5 cycle bonus. Or, oh, and then we start to like pull back a little bit, right? And it's like, it's not going to stay there if you don't keep showing up. And so some of the things when I think about what do we need to be doing consistently, posting on social media, right? Like when I think about when my business is growing, I am posting every day. I used to post multiple times a day, right? When it's not, it's because I'm sharing the Adonis story and I'm not sharing the 30-day story. What are the things that I'm disciplined about? My morning routine, doing my intention, right? Having my gratitude, doing the devotion. When I don't, and I'm kind of like, oh, I already know I'm a little grateful today. Like, I'm gonna like skip on over that right now. Like, things start to change. And so I want to encourage you guys to like, what are a list? Not a ton. Like, don't make it so daunting that you don't do anything, but maybe 3 things, 5 things in areas of your life that you could be a little bit more disciplined, that you could show up a little bit more consistently, and imagine the results that would come from that. So maybe you need to post on social media a little bit more. Maybe you need to, do a little bit more reach outs. Maybe you need to do some follow-ups. Maybe you need to do, more comp plan calls. Maybe you need to do an event. Maybe you need to go to more events. Like, I don't want you to feel like you have to do all of these, right? The purpose is not to overwhelm you that you look at 20 things and go, well, I can't do this, so I suck, and this is why I'm never going to build a network marketing business. It's about taking radical responsibility, right? And being intentional on like, what do you want and what do you really want Isagenix to do? So I'm going to share some with you. And I honestly was on the fence if I was going to share it, but I think it's really important to where this is coming from. So I think, in all honesty, Jessica's the only person that knows about this. I'm like looking around because Laura's not on this call. She has an event. So about a month ago, I took a role. I took a job. Like, I don't even know how to like really call it that. Because it was like tugging on my heartstrings. It was a video application and it's for someone who was transformative in my life, a female coach, like spiritually aligned, like I followed her for a long time. And when the process came through to apply, I was like, I really want to do that. But I was like, I don't really need to do that. Right. Like, and I almost talked myself out of it because I'm like, oh, I'm trying to be with Adonis and like I have all this stuff going on and like I don't really want. But at the end of the day, like the growth mindset of me, if you guys know Tony Robbins, like the traits that drive human behavior, mine are growth and contribution. So it's how do I get better and how do I give more? And so the part that I couldn't like unlook was like, I want to get better. And when I hit 2 star, so that was a long, 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 long time ago, Jenny pretty much kicked me out of the nest. Like I love her, but she was like, onward, upward, you can do you, right? And for the last 10 years, Jessica's been a great running mate. Like we hold each other accountable, we lift each other up, we share goals. But outside of that, for the majority of the things that I do, so I own Activated Achievement, I coach female entrepreneurs, right? I lead a team, I teach at the school. I'm lifting down and reaching people up, right? Like I'm giving to them in a way that like I feel like I know something and I'm going to help you and I'm teaching, but I don't necessarily have that person for me. And I try to find it, right? I listen to calls or I hang out with people, but I was really craving it. Like I want someone to push me to the next level. And so when I took this role, that was where it came from. Was like, I want to be mentored. Like I want the accountability. Like I want to stretch myself because I know I'm going to show up better. So in the last 3 to 4 weeks, like my husband has said things like, I have not seen you buzz around with energy like this since before COVID. Like there is such clarity, right? Like people get on the phone with me and are saying things that they said to me 5, 6 years ago. Like, do you sleep? Like, what were you doing last night? Like my activated achieving clients are like, where were you? And like you're on all the time. Like I feel like you were posting at midnight and posting at 5 a.m. And it's all with this like really, really great place. So I got thrown into something that I thought was going to be a couple hours a week that like for the first couple weeks because of training and onboarding pretty much should have been like a full-time job. And I was lit up with it. But I said to Ryan, and here's the impetus of the call last week. I said, I have not had this hunger, this fervor since I first got started with Isagenix. Like the woman that I'm working with, like I constantly am listening to her podcast. I'm listening to all these training calls. She gives me feedback on calls and it's like playing. So like I've got my speaker in the shower that used to be like all the personal development or isogenics calls, and I'm getting ready and I'm listening to her, right? And like in between cooking dinner and when Adonis is napping and I'm driving and I'm listening to her. And it was like, oh my gosh, it's that insatiable hunger that I had when I first started isogenics because I felt like I had this Willy Wonka of like nutrition and of a compensation plan that I wanted everybody else to have. And I'm in this place right now that I held myself really radically accountable that like, I want to do this, but like, isogenics is still my number one. And I have got to be as disciplined and as consistent with isogenics as I am working for somebody else now. But there are meetings. There's a meeting at 10 a.m. Eastern, Monday through Friday. Do you guys know that in my entire life, I'm 41 years old. In my entire life, I've never done this. Like I've never had a weekly sales call, like ever. Like I've never worked for corporate America. Like I've been self-employed. Like it's a little bit strange, right? To be like showered and ready and makeup and all the things like first thing in the morning. But I think about the accountability, right? And this is how Jess and I were to Janny. And when I've got some new runners and they're checking in all the time and they're like, send me the call and they're sending this and you're working with them. Like I think about when Emily Sutherland came in a few years ago, right? And that was like just going, 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 going. And that energy is so contagious that I thought, I love what I'm doing. But I love when isogenics is in momentum. Like I love when people are running together. I love our power calls. I love the events. I love going to conferences together. I love seeing people rank advance together. And I know like Jess has a whole new slew of rock stars that have come over together from another company. And there's that competitive energy. That's that collaborative energy. That's that new, vibrant, excitement energy that I'm going to leave you guys with thinking about what this opportunity can do, right? This vehicle, this opportunity, seeing the success stories, embracing it, experiencing it yourself. What are the things right now that you should be doing daily, weekly, monthly, showing up in order to get those results? If someone wanted to run a 5K, someone actually just put this in like my accountability chat, which is ironic. Like I want to be able to run a 5K by XYZ. Okay, well, you better start. Like you're just not going to walk out and not be a runner and suddenly like go run 3.5 miles. Like you're not, but you have to start with a half a mile and then a mile and then a mile and a half and then 2 miles. And ultimately you go and you do the 5K. I know that Erica just went to a Gals First bodybuilding show, and I was looking at the pictures. I'm like, oh, that journey is not easy, and like people look at these girls on stage or men on stage. They don't know all the egg whites, all the tilapia, all the asparagus, all the fat burners, all the water pulling, all the things they gave up in order to get there, right? And so when you're thinking about your business, I asked you a couple weeks ago to set a goal. Be real honest with yourself. Did you? Like, did you? And if you did, great. How far along are you? Don't worry about if you didn't hit it. You have a target, right? If you miss, you keep going. But if you didn't, like, why? Like, what are you holding yourself back from? Okay. So one of the things that I had a goal for was to create a new manager. We are one run enrollment away, right? We are literally one enrollment away. Like it's fun. Like it's exciting. I looked at that team builder bonus, like 5 enrollments in the month. You guys, it's a stretch goal. Like I normally do that anyways, but I said, okay, I'm going to go for 10 enrollments in the month of November. What are the things that I have to do? I have a post up right now that has a ton of engagement, more than my posts typically do when it comes to isogenics. I have an event coming up. I was actually going to do a different theme and I saw Sibbles and I love the name and I rebranded it, right? Cozy Sips and Winter Wealth Tips. Like I loved it, right? And it's like, I'm committed to that. So I have all the Saturdays in the world to go to the zoo, to go to museums, to hang out with my baby, to watch football games. But when I think about what this opportunity has done for me and done for other people, I have a couple hours once a month to do an in-home, to share the story and to like inspire other people, right? To give the gift that just keeps on giving, both physically and financially. So if you guys are bold enough, if you're brave enough, type in the chat, what's an area that you need to be a little bit more disciplined? What's an area that you want to be a little bit more consistent? And let's share them. Let's lean into each other because we all experience this, right? For me, like one of the things that can easily slip away from me is reading. Like I listen to a lot of podcasts, but I'm like, I'm going to read tomorrow. I'm going to read tomorrow. I'm going to read. And then like a month passes and I'm like looking at the same 3 books that I ordered and I haven't read. Dawn, I love that. Posting on social media. Okay. So you're going to set an alarm in your phone, right? Post on social media like Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, even if it's not every day, right? But do it. And then someone hold her accountable, right? So Holly, check in on her, like Ann, check in on her and just be like, hey, gorgeous, I just want to check in, make sure you've got this gorgeous post up. You're sharing your, virtual store with like all the people who are looking for this. Who else wants to do it? Stephanie, connecting with new people on social media. Oh my gosh. So this is actually like so fun, right? Just to follow people and to be able to build those relationships. I mean, this is why we do the birthday messages, right? They start to see them, or people pop into your feed and you go, man, I'm so glad that Facebook reminded me that it's your birthday, Alexis, right? I was like, but really, I've been wanting to chat with you anyways. I've been wanting to like, tell you what I'm up to. Like, do you have time for a walk this week? Like, can you hop on the phone and like do a coffee with me? Like getting into groups of people that are like-minded that you can like friend. All right, Sherry's saying her follow-up. So apparently she's a master connector, right? She's making a lot of one-time leads. But we've got to be able to do some follow-up. So, Sherry, I mean, I will check in on you. Laura will check in on you. Kari, I know you guys are working together. Kari, I'm going to just tee it up for you. Like, check in on Sherry. You've been enrolling a lot lately. And just say, hey, how are those follow-ups going? How can I help you? Have you added them to the page? Have you done like a 3-way text? Like, Alexis just talked about her nutrition. Like, get back into that group, girl. Send me pictures of your shakes. Send me pictures of your snacks. But this level of a community, right? Like, this is what we're here for. When we tell people we stand on chairs and cheer for each other, we want to see you win. So next week when Dawn comes back, because she's on our recognition list, that she had some enrollments and she posted more in this next week than she has in a while because Holly and Ann held her accountable. This is what it's all about, right? Like, we want to see you win. We want to see you soar. So you write these goals and then it takes activities. So in the full honesty, right, I have been putting off a cleanse day like nobody's business. Like, I feel like I'm going to cleanse for the first time. It has been so long since I cleansed. And before this, you guys, I'm like Denise. I was like a weekly cleanser. But the last time I cleansed was November of 2022, before my IVF transfer. And then I was pregnant. Then I was nursing. Now I'm out of excuses. Like, I just like have to like commit again. But one of the things I said, I was like, okay, discipline, right? I have to do it. I own like the Isogenic Superstore, right? Go in my pantry. What do you want? I have it all. Guess what I did not have? Guess what I did not have? I did not have a bottle of cleanse, right? I got the little notification, your subscriptions order is about to go out. And I was like, oh, what do I need? Because I have a lot of stuff. And I was like, ironic that I've been talking about it's time to cleanse and I don't know when to cleanse. So guess what's in my order? It's going out on the 8th, right? I ordered the cleanse. I ordered one for Ryan. It is time. Like, we need to get this show back on the road. And ultimately, because I'm like 5 to 6 pounds up from my pre-pregnancy weight, guess what's going to happen with a double like fasting day? Like, I know, right? But you just have to kind of do the things and put your head down. So I wanted you guys to go look up growth mindset versus fixed mindset. Look at the areas where you're like, okay, I need to work on a little bit more growth, right? Like, these are the things that are holding me back from keeping the best version of myself. Then think about some people that you really need to plug into, the people that are going to surround you with greatness, that are going to lift you up, that are going to encourage you to want to be better. And then when we get clear on our Isogenics business, the goals we want to have, the money we want to make, the bodies we want to have, the other people's success stories that we want to have, go back to just 3 things. I promise you, if you do those 3 things a little bit more consistently and have a little bit more discipline around them, you will see massive, massive shifts in your business. You don't have to do all of them. Okay, do 3 things. And if you're up for it, share them with me, share them with Jess, share them with Erica, share them with Susan. Like, text somebody and be like, here's the 3 things that I'm going to do through the month of November. Okay, you guys are awesome. Have a great night. Enjoy the election day tomorrow, all the things, and we'll see you in a week. Bye, guys.